And so, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Stan Ehera. I'll be your instructor for this course. No, this is Engineering Science 1 or Engineering Drawing. And I think today we are joined by our, student assistant. Nandito ba si, ayun, nandyan. Dito si Joey. Joey, would you like to say something to the students? Meron ba? Or announcements?
Hello, sir. Wala pa naman po ngayon. Let's
Okay.
do it na.
So yun, if you have any other questions, tapos nahihiya kayo sa akin, pwede naman kay Joey nyo itanong, no? Joey, just curious, no? Anong year level mo na, Joey?
Second year standing po.
Okay,
Second
second
year
year.
stand. Yeah.
Alright, so wait lang. Yung iba dito, baka kabatch mo lang din, no? I think most sa METI is first year and maybe some of the other students here are second year, no? So yun, again, if you have questions, pwede naman si Joey. Yan, Joey is, ang alam ko, mabait naman si Joey. Tama ba, Joey?
Sakto lang, sir.
Sakto, ayun. Saktong bait lang si Joey. Okay. So, Joey is also part of our Google Chats. So, you can message nyo there. Message nyo si Joey there din. Okay? So, let's start. So, I won't go into the details of the syllabus, no? So, I trust that you guys will read it on your own. Pero, siguro i-walk through ko lang kayo sa mga important parts ng syllabus natin. Or in general, yung course natin, no? So, if you and hopefully all of you have access to this already, no? Kasi chinek ko, lahat naman tayo, lahat na nasa class list, nandito naman sa enrolled user, no? And I can probably double check. So if you look at ES1, WFXY2, nandito naman tayo lahat. So last I checked, we are 26 ata tayo. Wait lang, pwede ba yun? Double check ko lang. Parang 22 ata tayo, which makes sense kasi dalawa kaming naka-teacher role tapos 20 dapat yung students na enrolled. Okay? So, this is the UVLEC course and this will be the official na parang learning or ano ba tawag dito? The official platform na gagamitin natin for engineering drawing, no? And all of the materials are already uploaded here. And you can access them by the way we can access this is kailangan pindutin natin tong student conforme. So you just press agree if you agree to the statement, no? Okay, so just read the statement above tapos if you understand it, then you can click the agree button and press save my choice, no? So when you go back to the course, dapat hindi na naka-gray out yung natin, yung mga modules natin. Right? So dito, if you some students have reported na kahit napindot na nila yung student conforme, hindi daw nila pa rin ma-access yung no. So if that's the case for you, then please send me a message, no. You can send me a message through Google Chat or pwede rin meron akong ginawa, no, na parang Google Form, so you can access it at bit.ly /ask Sir Stan. So I've written it down sa Google Chat. So usually kasi pag email, because of the work from home nature, no, nafa-flood yung email ko. So hindi ko masyado nakikeep track lahat ng mga emails ng estudyante, no. So I created this Google Chat para at least parang ticketing system siya, no. So medyo mas organized and I can respond to your email in a more timely manner, no. But also you can use Google Chat na rin kasi Google Chat is sufficient na rin, no. I often look at Google Chat para for all concerns of the students. Okay? So, let's go. Lahat na kayo nakabukas na dapat nitong engineering lettering. This is the first plate. So, meron naman tayong mga reference sheet. Tapos, meron akong tips na binigay doon sa Google Chat. Just read them. And yung submission nito, usually ang lahat ng due dates natin falls on a falls on a Monday. So, if you look at the plate schedule, so ito siguro yung pinaka itong resource na to, no, itong plate schedule, yung pinaka balikan nyo kasi nandito lahat ng mga requirements natin. So nandito ang first submission deadlines natin will be on Feb 21. That's a Monday, again a Monday, no? And if you look at it, almost all submission deadlines are on a Monday, no? Except for dito, which is scheduled on a Friday. Pero all others Monday siya. Even ang iba-iba pala yung mga milestone requirements. Okay? So for this coming Monday, ang plates to be done is plate 1 and plate 2, no? So lettering, hopefully you finish lettering. Tapos ngayon, ang kailangan nyo na lang is geometric construction 1, no? Which is all about lines and angles. Okay? So after nitong parang short syllabus discussion, magdi-discuss na ako about lines and angles, no? So the way I usually like to handle synchronous sessions is that I'm assuming na ano, no, that you are fairly familiar with the ano, kumbaga or you have read the modules. So ang gagawin ko na lang, I won't go into detail sa mga, sa parang kumbaga science behind it or yung theory behind the the methods that will be used. Kumbaga demonstration na lang talaga gagawin ko. And while I'm demonstrating, pwede sigurong magtanong kayo, no? So you can open your mics, pwede rin open yung camera nyo if you want. Tapos just ano, no, call my attention at any time. You can disturb me at any time para itanong yung mga questions. And medyo na-OOC ako, no? Parang may something wrong sa green screen ko. Wait lang. Class. Nakikita yung nasa likod ko, no? Wait lang. Let me ano ko lang, class, no? Adjust ko lang konti. Ayan. Ayan, konting adjustment lang. Ayan. Okay. So, hopefully, maayos na yung green screen ko. Balik tayo. Nasaan na ba tayo? Kita pa naman yung Uvle na page, no?
Opo.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. So, nasaan na ba tayo? Thank you, Leo, no, sa comment. So, inisip ko maging full-time streamer na talaga, no? Tapos, follow niyo ako sa Twitch. Hindi, joke lang. hindi ako mahilig doon. Anyway, gawin natin na, ano, na medyo, ano, no, para maging fun konti tong less ano natin, synchronous sessions. Try natin na parang Twitch stream siya, no, para at least makaka-interact kayo. Siguro lagyan natin sa right side ng parang chat box, no, para pwede kayong mag-chat. So, let me know kung something na fun yun, no, na pwedeng kung gusto niyo yung ganun. But in any case, we have ano, no, nasaan tayo? So plate schedule, ito yung one of the more important na resources na kailangan yung balik-balikan, no, kasi nandito yung mga deadlines and yung schedules natin. Okay? So at first glance, medyo ano, no, nakakalula talaga ang ES1, no, kasi if you look at it, parang ang daming requirements, tapos madami ding exams. And especially for first year students, no, medyo mabigat talaga siya. Pero in my experience, and maybe Joey can attest to this as well, no, fun naman ang ES1. It's one of the courses na at least nung ako undergrad ako, pinilit ko talagang kunin siya in advance, no, because I saw my roommate, yung mga dorm mates ko dati ay eto face to face pa to, no. So when I saw my dorm mates, parang sumasagot sila ng mga plates, parang sobrang fun tingnan eh. So that's why ang ginawa ko, we were scheduled ata na sa amin third year pa ata, or parang basta medyo late na sa course, no. Pero pinilit ko siyang kunin earlier than ano, no, schedule, kasi parang feel ko sobrang fun niya. And hindi naman ako na-disappoint, no. When I took ES1, parang it's challenging but it's fun in a way, no. And hopefully sana you guys could see that as well, no, na you find enjoyment in solving the different problems in ES1. So it's ang ano natin, this is a 2-unit course, no, and it's a lab course. Therefore kung 2 units siya, it's it becomes 6 hours per week, no? So you're expected to do your or you dedicate at least 6 hours of your time per week for ES1. And I think that's enough naman para magawa yung mga plates, no? So you'll notice na merong mga naka-strike through na mga ano dito na plates. So these were plates na usual na tinitake during the face-to-face SEM, but because of the remote learning, we've decided na ibawasan namin yung mga requirements, no? So eto na lang yung mga natira. But I think most of these are also kumbaga available pa rin naman yung mga modules dito, pero wala na siyang assessment. So if you have time, kung you're interested in learning more about these lessons, pwede naman i-view nyo yung mga supplementary lessons na to, no? Okay? So that's for plate schedule. So we also have a course syllabus. Ito, nandito yung syllabus natin. And meron din tayong course guide, no? Nandito rin. Okay, so again, I'll leave this as an assignment to you guys. But if hindi kayo, kasi itong PDF medyo ano no, mahirap siya basahin. I suggest na itong book yung basahin nyo, itong ES1 course syllabus. It's the same content, mas ano lang yung ano niya, no, mas maganda yung layout niya. So let's look at ito syllabus. Okay lang to. You can read on that on your own. Proceed tayo diretso dito sa ano, no, course guide natin. And dito sa course guide, nandun din yung plate schedules natin, no? So nakalagay din. This is the same content as the one shown in the PDF file, no? So let me just walk you through. So diretso tayo sa, so you can read on this on your own, no? So just look at the table of contents. Diretso tayo sa drawing instruments, no? So ito yung mga required na drawing instruments natin. So we have a 30-60-90 triangle, a 45-45 degree 90 triangle, but you only actually need just one of these, no? Itong triangles na to. Pero usually if you buy this as a set, magkasama talaga tong dalawang to, no? Okay? Pero if you all, kung may hand-me-downs kayo tapos isa lang binigay sa inyo, kunwari may 30-60 lang kayo, then that's perfectly fine, no? One triangle and one straight edge is enough for ES1. Then you need a technical compass. Usually, yung mga higher quality compass, mas ano siya, no? It's easier to work with. Kasi kung yung mga cheap plastic compasses yung binili nyo, yung parang made in China, usually, ano no, hindi siya stable. Tapos ang nangyayari is, nagkakaroon siya ng mga inaccuracies sa measurements nyo, and those inaccuracies can pile up, no? So if you have the resources, maganda sana buy a higher quality compass, pero hindi siya absolutely necessary, no? Mas ano lang, it will just make your life easier. Meron mang mga high quality compass that don't cost as much, no? So hindi kailangan yung super mahal yung bilhin nyo, yung parang sakto lang. um di ko na alam ngayon kung ano yung magandang brand, no? Joey, meron ka bang ano, alam na brand that is high quality pero hindi naman ganun kamahal?
I think yung Maped, sir. Yung kasi yung mga screwed, meron naman
Hmm.
silang screwed na compass na okay din naman po. Medyo
Okay.
stable naman.
Okay, hindi ako familiar sa brand. It's a brand? Tama ba? Brand ba siya, Joey?
I think, brand po siya.
Okay, so
Pero kung may, Stedler.
Stedler. Tama. Pero medyo mahal yung Stedler, no?
Opo.
Okay. Sige. So yun, if you need more tips, yung mga buying, shopping tips, no, pwedeng si Joey yung tanungin nyo, no. So ngayon kasi hindi na ako bumibili ng mga ano, no, itong mga drawing instruments na to kasi I've shifted totally to ano na, anong tawag dito, yung digital na. Okay? Pero yun, after technical compass, kailangan natin ng two grades, no, grades na pencil. We have HB pencil and the H pencil. Okay, so one of this is darker and one of this is lighter. I always forget this. Joey, can you help me out? Ano ulit yung H, yung mas darker dito? Is it H or HB?
Each Double check ko lang din po. Medyo nalilito din ako sa H at
Oo nga.
HB.
Pero kung kumbaga kung gagamitin niyo naman sa class 'no, itong H at HB, obvious naman kung alin yung darker. So, the darker one is for the final answers, tapos yung lighter one is for your construction lines. Okay? So, pero kung ano naman, if you can't secure H and HB pencils, I think meron siyang ano equivalent na Mongol numbers, no? So parang Mongol number 1, Mongol number 2. Nakalimutan ko lang kung ano yung equivalent sa kanya. So you could probably look into it on your own, no? Some students yung ginagamit nila is yung darker pencil tapos parang kinokontrol na lang nila yung ano no, yung parang strength ng stroke nila para to produce the construction lines. Ah tapos and also to produce the ano no, pero yun kailangan may fine motor skills talaga kayo para makontrol yung ano. Okay? And speaking of ano no, construction lines and ano, final answers, when you submit your works when you submit your work no and lalo na pag kinascan nyo siya, um I suggest na wag kayong gumamit ng aggressive na contrasting na software no, like I think Cam Scanner masyadong aggressive yung pag contrast niya. So ang nangyayari kasi nabuburat talaga yung ano Joey has ano dito listed dito sa chat no. So H is lighter, HB is darker. And for Mongol pencils it's 1 for H, 3 for HB. Thank you Joey. So ang ano suggestion ko is if you take a scan or a picture of your work, do it in a well-lit room, no? And make sure na pagka pinicturean nyo siya, litaw pa rin yung construction lines natin. Kasi kung hindi na siya litaw, baka pagka chinek natin siya, iisipin namin na wala kayong ginawang construction lines for that. Tapos yung common na ginagamit ng estudyante is yung cam scanner na app. As usually pagka sinet na sobrang taas ng contrast, nangyayari is nabubura, nawawala yung ano no, yung construction line. So kung pwede nyong i-change yung settings ng cam scanner na parang hindi ganun ka-aggressive yung contrast, that would be better, no? Okay? Tapos and hopefully sana wag kayong mag-submit ng blurry na ano no na submissions. So try niyo siyang i-steady niyo yung kamay niyo at picturean niyo in a well lit room no. Okay? Then pencil sharpener, ito optional lang kasi pwede namang ano no, parang gamitin niyo lang is kutsilyo or ano or cutter. Pero most of the time mas maganda kung may sharpener kayo para crisp yung lines, you know. Okay? Then, you obviously need an eraser kasi yung eraser para mabura yung mga mistakes, you know. And yung eraser, usually I suggest a higher quality eraser, no? Kasi may meron kasing cases, no, na if gumamit kayo nung mga cheap erasers, ang nangyayari is na ano napupunit yung papel. So, I would suggest yung ano bang tawag doon? Yung parang clay siya eh. Knead eraser ata yung pangalan eh. KNEAD, knead eraser. So those produce the higher quality ano o mas ano siya kumbaga mas malinis yung pagbura niya. So if you can you can buy one of those no. Tapos ang mga erasers kasi natin they degrade over time no. So kung sobrang tagal na ng eraser like a few years na siya hindi na siya effective actually no. So if you're materials engineer you would know this no. Yung mga kung may mga mati dito I think you will tackle this in your majors no. Yung degradation ng ano uh, rubber over time. Okay? So that's for drawing instruments. Tapos let's go to course requirements no. So yung course requirements natin may two components siya. We have the plates and the milestone requirements no. So yung plates natin, again, meron tayong plate schedules diyan. Tapos yung plates natin naka-divide siya into two no. So meron siyang component na yung plate mismo which is worth 60 points. Tapos meron din siyang component na quiz no. So if I show you, kunwari dito, you look at Geom Con 1, meron siyang plate requirement. This is the plate. And meron din siyang quiz requirement. So ito 60 points to and this is 40 points. Okay? So the way the plates are computed no is meron lang siyang kumbaga may capping tayong ginagawa no. So if I were to pwede siguro dito ko na isulat. Sulat ko lang dito na. So, meron tayong, for example, ang the way it's computed is uh, yung yung raw score ng plate. So, raw score of plate capped at 60% plus yung quiz natin. Okay? So, for example, ang plate kasi natin is over 100, no? So, let's just say na may ginawa kayong plate and you scored 75% ng plate. Tapos yung sa quiz, you scored 38. Okay? 38 over 40, kunwari. Because all quizzes are over 40, no? So, kunwari ganyan. So, magiging final grade nyo is the raw score of the plate capped at 60. So, 75 is actually parang perfect lang din siya. 60 plus 38 gives you 98 over 100. So, ito yung magiging final plate score nyo. Okay? So, meaning that yung raw score, yung plate component nyo, yung 60 is kumbaga may kumbaga minus lang siya sa overall score if you go lower uh, than 60, no? So for example, if you scored, let's just say 58, then pag ganon, parang may minus 2 kayo sa overall total, no? Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Na malinaw ba 'yon, yung calculation na 'yon? Merong mga thumbs up. So if you're kung nahihiya kayong magsalita, pwede namang mag-emoji kayo, no? And mostly, nag-agree naman ka. So that's good, no? So, ganito natin kinocompute yung plate scores natin. So ang target natin is, gusto natin parating perfect yung place, no? Pero sometimes hindi natin ma-perfect siya. Ang goal natin is satisfactory yung paggagawa natin ng plate such that kaya natin mag 60%, no? Okay? So kung 60% sa sure tayo na 100% yung component na yun. Okay? So that's plate computation. So balik tayo dun sa ano natin. Course guide. So that's for the plates. Tapos just please read this. Tapos yung printing, by the way, ito may isa din to sa mga kailangan natin matutunan, no? So usually kasi yung mga plates natin, not all pero sometimes yung plates natin is merong mga portions na nagme-measure tayo, no? So to prevent yung parang discrepancy ng measurement, kailangan ang gawin natin if you are printing your plates, dapat i-print nyo siya sa exact size niya, no? So the way we do that is, kunwari lang ito yung plates as you want to print. So ang gagawin natin is, if you go to, let's say, more settings, meron siyang ganito, no? So you always choose actual size, no? Kasi kung i-scale nyo siya, like for example, ito, fit to printable area, ang nangyayari dito is nakascale actually siya. And in this case, nakascale siya to 88%, no? So minsan, pagka nakascale siya, may chance na kumbaga yung final answer nyo lalagpas sa borders ng ng plates, or kunwari may pinapa-measure what is the length of line XY kunwari, tapos since nakascale siya, nakascale din yung sagot nyo. So you always select actual size, no? So kailangan piliin nyo to, actual size, and all of the plates are A4. So if you want, piliin nyo din A4 size. A4 tas actual. Okay? If you're doing this in PDF, I can probably show you as well, no? Let me go to PDF. Adobe. Ano ba kung random andito? Ito na lang. So, pakita ko lang. So, let's just say ito, no? So, if I do itong si Acrobat Reader, if you do file, then print, meron siyang dialog box na lalabas ng ganito. Then, pipiliin nyo lang din yung actual, no? So, ito, naka-shrink oversized page na nakasulat, no? So, what I'll do is I'll pick actual size. Tapos, you can also dictate kung ano yung size na kailangan, no? So, for example, ito, nasaan na yung dialog box? Dito ata. Ayan, ito. So, you can pick A4. Yan, tapos i-actual size nyo yung pipiliin nyo. Okay? So, actual size, tapos print nyo siya. So, that just ensures na yung hindi maano no, compromise yung parang scaling nung ano natin, yung mga problems sa different windows ng plates natin. Okay? So malinaw ba? So again, just print it actual size. Kung hanapin nyo lang yung option na actual size, baka pag sa Mac, hindi kasi ako sure kung paano sa Mac, no? I'm working with Windows, pero I believe si Mac meron din siyang ganong options, no? Just try to look for the word actual size. Tapos, change the page setup into A4, no? Instead of letter or legal. Although kung naka A4, naka actual size naman siya, regardless of kung ano yung pinili yung ano, document size, siguro may mapuputol na areas, no? Pero yung scaling nun will be correct. Okay? So, yung pinaka-importanting option is to do actual size. Right? So, balik tayo sa ano natin. Ule. Ayan. Let's look at, saan na tayo? Sa course guide. So, we've done plates. Then, yung plates natin is 20% of your final grade, no? And the 80% will be for the milestone requirements. So, for this course, meron tayong 5 milestone requirements. And itong milestone requirements, you can think of it as parang long exams, no? Ganun. So, yung 5 milestone requirements na to is divided into 3 parang groupings, no? So, yung first is the milestone requirement 1 and 2. Magkasama sila. So, if you look at the plate schedule, no? Si milestone requirement 1 and 2, same yung release date nila. So, kumbaga parang ito long exam 1 and long exam 1 has coverage, has 2 problems, kumbaga in a way, no? MR1 and MR2. Tapos next natin is MR3 and 4. This is kumbaga LE2 na to. Then you have long exam 3, which is just milestone requirement 5. Okay? So, milestone requirement 5, na it's a set of ano no, merong iba diyan na in the milestone requirement na parang exam type, na meron ding mga milestone requirements na parang mini project type. Okay? So it just depends on the topics, no. Each milestone requirement is ano siya, no, is given by a particular set of teachers. So for example, milestone requirement 1 is given by kunwari Sir Terence and ako, Sir Stan. So ang mangyayari is if you have questions about the milestone requirements, yung teacher yung hahanapin nyo. No? So nakalagay naman siya sa baba, may tinatawag na checker. So parang sa bottom portion makikita nyo checker, tapos pangalan ng mga teachers. No? So yung mga teachers na yun, sila yung hahanapin nyo if you want, if you have questions about the milestone requirement. No? Also, sila din yung mga hahanapin nyo if you want partial points. So for example, you feel like tama naman yung sagot nyo, parang baka hindi lang napansin ng teacher yung isang solution nyo kasi kumbaga sinulat nyo sa separate page. Tapos yung teacher na nagche-check, hindi niya napansin na meron palang second page kayong ginawa. So, pwedeng ang gawin nyo is you contact the teacher tapos sasabihin nyo, sir, meron pang second page yon. Tapos feel ko I should deserve more points. Then the teacher can reevaluate. Tapos from the reevaluation, pwedeng tumaas yung scores nyo. No? You can have yung sa MRs, no, you can only have the MRs recheck within 1 week, no. So after the release of the scores, dapat within 1 week lang kayo pwedeng mag humingi ng partial points. Pero usually yung mga teachers naman are quite lenient on this, no. So kahit lumagpas na yung ano, yung 1 week, minsan kino-consider pa rin nila. Okay? Tapos, ayun, nandito naman siya, within 1 week siya release. Pero some teachers, again, pwedeng mag-consider sila more than 1 week na. No? Okay? Tapos, important in class, no, kailangan i-ensure nyo din na hindi corrupted yung isa-submit nyo. So, if you feel like, for example, if you feel like yung sinubmit nyo once viewing of para napansin nyo hindi siya lumalabas, no? Pwede nyo tanungin yung instructor nyo. Sir, gusto ko lang i-confirm kung tama ba yung sinubmit ko, kung nababasa ba. And this is your responsibility, no? Kailangan tanungin nyo yung instructor, me, or pwede rin si Joey, no? Tanungin nyo siya kung nababasa ba yung in-upload na milestone requirement para I-confirm namin kung corrupted ba siya, may problema ba, blank ba yung in-upload nyo, yung mga ganong klaseng ano, no? Okay? So, ito, grading system, I think ano, no, sabi ko naman, plates and quizzes is 20%. Tapos milestone requirements is 80% of your total grade. Tapos ito yung transmutation na gagamitin natin. Yung 92 is uno, tapos yung passing is 60%, tapos every 4 steps, yun yung every 4% yung steps natin in the UP grading system. Okay? So ito, yung INC is meron tayong usually binibigay namin yung INC pagka student is meron siyang class standing throughout the semester is passing, pero meron siyang mga kulang na requirements, no? Like for example, for valid reasons hindi kayo nakapag-MR 3 and 4 kunwari. Tapos pero pag kinompute naman yung grade nyo, passing naman siya, then you can be given an INC, no? Tapos you are allowed to complete that INC within 1 academic year. Pwede ring there are cases wherein kunwari failing yung standing nyo sa sa course, pero meron pa kayong missing requirements and may chance pa kayong pumasa if you pass the if you submitted the missing requirements, then pag ganun INC pa rin ibibigay sa inyo, right? So um yung INC natin is right now yung no fail policy hindi pa kino-confirm, no? So, hindi pa sure kung may no-fail policy tayo. Baka this is the SEM that will be giving out a grade of 5, no? So, we'll have to wait for kung ano yung final, no? Kasi ang alam ko wala pang final announcement, no? Kung no-fail policy pa rin ba this SEM or meron ng failing grade na ibibigay. Meron pa lang tanong, no? Shane asks is same lang ba sa fit to page? Iba yung fit to page, no? Kasi yung fit to page merong scaling na ginagawa nyo. So you always choose actual size. Okay? Tapos ito yung regular removal periods natin. So we have 3 removal periods. So the first removal period is before the start of mid-year, tapos before the start of the first SEM sa next academic year, and before the start of the second SEM of the next academic year. So kailangan ma-remove nyo siya within those period. No? And if you do get an INC, may 2 options siya. No? Pwede nyo i-complete siya or pwedeng you can also opt to retake the course altogether. No? So for example, if you missed 5 MRs tapos you only passed 1 plate, maybe it's better if you just retake the course, no, as opposed to completing the INC, no. And pinaka makakapag guide sa inyo nito is yung registration advisor, no. So I highly suggest na kausapin niyo yung registration advisor niyo for how you approach if ever maka-incur kayo ng INC, no. Okay? So, okay na tayo dito. I'll leave it to you guys para basahin yung rest of the content, no. And but before I proceed to Geom Con 1, meron ba tayong questions about the parang walkthrough sa syllabus or course guide? So no questions. All right. Thank you for the feedback, guys. Okay. So if ever may naisip kayong questions, just leave it sa chat box, no, or just open your mic. Tapos tatry ko sagutin yung mga tanong, no. Okay. So let's go to Geom Con 1, no. And wait lang. So again dito sa sa synchronous sessions, usually I just answer the practice plates. So if you look at sige, balik muna tayo sa balik muna tayo sa Oble. So if you look at each module, meron actually dito, no, itong practice worksheets. So ito lang yung usual na sinasagot ko ngayon. And for today, ito yung sasagutan natin, si practice worksheet number 1, no, which is all about geometric construction, all about lines and angles. No? Okay, so let me download, save. Tama ba? Stop. Dito na lang. Oops. Blank pa yun, nakikita nyo, no? So, let me... Sana yun? Kasi folder. Okay, so let's start with page 1. This is page 1, no? So let me... Right? So, kunin ko lang yung compass ko, no? So, obviously, hindi ko pwede, wala kasi akong overhead camera to do this, no? And again, I've shifted to digital. So, ang gagawin ko is maglalagay na lang ako ng parang virtual compass, no? So, let me open my virtual compass. Okay. Ay, tinanggal ko. Anyway, sige. Pwede na siguro to. Ah, wait. Let me convert this. View mode RGB. Um, hopefully, na-imagine nyo to, no? Pero, kumbaga, ito yung compass natin. So, if I place my compass sa gitna, wait lang ah. Maybe I can find, I think nandito yun eh. Wait lang class ah. I know I saved the compass somewhere, no? Ito ba yun? Wait lang class ah. Meron kasi ako nakaset up dati na ano. Meron siyang image ng compass mismo para mas ma-imagine nyo siya. Sige, let's just make our own, no? So, wait lang class ah. Mga 5 minutes. Let me hanap tayo ng compass. Vector. Ito, pwede siguro to. Copy image. Try natin. Your overlay. Set up color na. Okay. Hopefully, you can imagine it pag ganito na. Tapos, wait lang. I need a circle. Sige lang, class. Bear with me. Okay. I think this should work. Ah, okay. I think this is good, no? So, para mas ma-imagine yung class, no? So, this is my compass. Tapos, kumbaga, if I open up my compass, so obviously, hindi lumalaki yung compass natin, no? Pero on your side, parang binuksan nyo yung compass nyo. Kumbaga, pinalaki nyo yung angle, no? So, eto, para mapakita ko siya, parang ganyan siya. So, if I open my compass, I'll be doing something like that. Tapos, when I draw, para akong umikot ng ganyan. So usually ako hindi ko kailangan ikutin to, no, kasi I could just kumbaga in this space itong sa Photoshop, pwedeng kumbaga ito naman yung itong bilog na to. So if I take my compass, itong bilog na to, this is yung posibleng trace na pwedeng magawa ng compass ko. So I could make a mark here, pwede din gumawa ko ng mark dito, etc. etc. Tama? So, wait lang. Kailangan natin tanggalin yung shape dynamics. Okay. So, yan. Pwedeng dyan, pwedeng dyan, pwedeng dyan. Pero in the real world, parang if I try to make a mark here, that's saying na I'm rotating my compass tapos nag-make ako ng mark na paganyan. Okay? Does that make sense? Medyo na-imagine nyo ba?
Opo, sir.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. So, ganun natin siya ano, no. So, for the first few lessons, i-retain ko tong parang image ng compass, no, para at least ma-imagine niyo siya. Pero siguro in more advanced lessons, once you get comfortable with how to use the compass, pwede kong tanggalin na yung mismong compass na image, tapos pwedeng kumbaga nakaganyan na lang siya. Itong bilog na lang yung gagamitin ko. Right? So, wait lang. Pinakamalaking bilog. Shape ellipse. Okay. So, let's start, no? So, let's start with transferring lengths of a line. No? So, this is fairly easy. You just, ito yung, if you look at the compass, meron siyang two parts. So, yung isang part is the pin. That's where you place the center of the arc that you will produce. Tapos yung other part is the side with the with the graphite pen. So may certain compasses na para siyang ganito na kumbaga meron na siyang na graphite or graphite na portion itong na to. So siya na yung mismong gagawa ng marks. Meron ding ibang compass na para siyang may holder siya, no? Parang ganyan. Tapos ini-insert nyo yung H or HB pencils nyo. Parang ganyan. So depende na lang sa binili yung technical compass. Pero both of which parang FICO same effectivity lang naman. Ang advantage lang nung yung may holder is that pwede nyong ilagay yung nyo, no, yung um kumbaga pwedeng i-change nyo siya from H to HB. So for example, if you're doing construction lines lang, then you can place the HB. Tama ba? HB nga ba yun? Sorry. Pwede nyo ilagay yung H. Tapos kung final answer na yung gagawin nyo, pwedeng HB yung isingit nyo doon sa no? Doon sa parang holder na yun. Okay? Yung Stedler ata, I think parang siya may sarili siyang graphite na doon sa part na to. Hindi siya holder type. Pero high quality naman yung graphite na ginagamit nila. Okay? Anyway, so let's start now. So if you want to copy a length, ang gagawin lang natin is we just place it on one side. So it could be this side, it could be that side, doesn't really matter. Lagay natin yung parang center natin dyan. Open up natin yung natin. yung compass. So parang ganyan. Tapos, once that we got the distance, kopya lang natin siya to the other side sa kung saan natin i-transfer yung length. So in this case, parang ganyan. Then we strike an arc. No? So we do a motion like this. So striking an arc, parang ganyan. So what happens is, ang napoproduce natin is something like, meron tayong ganyan. Okay? So, yeah. So, if I hide my compass, ito, yung na-produce ko dito, this is length L na, no? Ito, this is length L. Okay? So, that is transferring the length of a line. So, it's fairly simple, no? Madali lang siya. Now, let's do bisecting a line, no? And this is something that you will do. Madaming methods na nagre-rely sa bisecting a line, no? So, you should, kumbaga, put this into heart, no? This is something na by the end of the course, you can do this in your sleep na, no? Ganon siya ka ingrained sa inyo because of how many times you will be using the ano, no? Merong comment si Leo, nakawabol daw yung Stedler. um, sa bagay kasi maganda kasi siyang quality, no? So, maraming cases dati nga na parang nawawala yung mga compasses and yung during face to face, no? Parang bigla na lang nawawala yung mga good compasses, good erasers and good pencils, no? Pero since ano naman remote, hopefully yung pwede lang magnakaw is yung ano na lang kapatid nyo or parents nyo. Parang ganun. But anyway, let's do bisecting a line, no? So let's do this. If you want to bisect a line, so what you do is you strike up, place the center point of the compass. Then you do an estimate, no? So it doesn't have to be accurate, pero you just make sure na yung compass nyo, you open up your compass such that you estimate it to be slightly larger than the midway point of the estimated midway point of the, I don't know, bisecting means that you are doing um sectioning the line into two equal portions, no? So for example, itong line AB, so let me hide it first. Itong line AB, I'm estimating na somewhere dito yung, I don't know. So if I were to estimate somewhere dito yung ano niya, yung midway point, just by simply looking at it, no? So what I'll do is, kailangan yung pag-open ko ng compass is slightly larger than that estimate, no? So parang ganyan. So you can be safe and try to do very large na a very large opening sa compass, pero ang downside dito is that kung larger yung opening nyo, parang mas malaki yung space na kinakain niya, no? So kung mas malaki yung space, parang minsan hindi sapat na yung area na you're working with. So I just like to do slightly larger, no? So if I'm estimating na dito yung midpoint, parang ganyan lang yung gagawin ko. And I could probably show one slightly larger and one that is very large. So example, if you have something like that, so what I'll do is I'll strike in an arc dito sa portion na to. So one portion dyan, tapos strike din sa baba. Parang ganyan. Okay? So what that looks like is, nangyari is, meron akong masa-strike dito. Pag ganyan. Tapos meron din ako masa-strike dito. Somewhere dyan. So you can complete it. Pwede naman i-strike nyo yung arc is from here to here. Nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, yung intersection point natin kasi is somewhere dito, no? Dito sa area na to. So, kumbaga wasted yung lines dito, no? And in ES1, usually the cleaner your solution is, the easier it is to check, no? And most of the time, pag mas malinis, mas mataas yung partial points, no? Okay? So I've struck two arcs, no? One at the top and one at the bottom. Tapos ang gagawin ko, using the same opening, no? So I'm using same lang yung distance na yun. I'll transfer it to the other corner or edge. Tapos I'll strike another arc dito and another arc dito. Okay? So parang dito and dyan. Okay, so if I do that, I should get something like an arc here and an arc here. Okay, so I have 2 points, no? And in geometry, whenever you have 2 points, no, you can form a line. And if I connect this line and this line, then actually that is the perpendicular bisector, no? So I've bisected the line into two equal portions. And just to show na arbitrary lang yung size ng arc, no? If I do the same steps, sorry. If I do the same steps again, and I'll draw a larger arc, no? So let's just say mga ganyan. And let me zoom out para mas makita niyo siya. If I do a larger arc, so kunwari mag-strike ako dito, and let's use another color, no? Yellow kunwari. If I do a larger arc, ganyan. So somewhere yan. Tapos another arc dito sa baba din. Ganyan. Tapos lipat ko siya. Same distance again. Tapos what I'll do is strike ako ng arc na dito and dito. What happens is I get this one and somewhere dyan. And if I connect the two, notice that it is the same perpendicular bisector, no? Tama? So ang again, kung makikita nyo, ito mas malaking space yung kinain, no? Itong larger arc kasi kumbaga mas malaki kasi yung yung construction lines na nagawa nyo. So mas further out siya. So nothing wrong with it. Ang issue ko lang is sometimes let's just say na ito lang yung binigay na space, no? Kuwari ito yung window lang sa particular problem na to. So lagpas na kayo sa window na yun. So parang pangit siya tingnan, no? Or minsan parang ano pa nga, baka hindi mapansin ng checker. So mas maganda na only slightly larger lang siya, no? Para hindi kayo gumagamit ng unnecessary space. Okay? So that is bisecting a line, and a good thing about bisecting a line is also nakaka-create din kayo ng perpendicular line. So this is actually a right angle, no? And we will use this technique again later, no? So please remember yung steps na ginawa natin para ma-achieve to. Okay? Now let's do transferring of an angle. So let's just say na we have this one. This is our line. Tapos gusto natin siya i-transfer dito, no? Para mapakita ko na arbitrary lang siya. Let's just say na ganyan. So we have line 1, 2. Tapos gusto natin i-transfer itong angle ABC na to. Usually we denote it by angle ABC. Tapos kung ano yung nasa vertex, yun yung nasa gitna. So we label it as ABC. Minsan may rules pa nga to na, for example, we read it clockwise or counterclockwise. I forgot, no? Pero hindi naman ganun ka-strict. I think it's clockwise, no? So kung ganito, it should be ABC kasi we read it in the clockwise direction. No? Right? Pero again, hindi siya masyadong strict. So you can do ABC or you can do CBA, no? Ang importante is yung nasa gitna is the point that is at the vertex of the angle, no? Okay? So let's transfer itong angle na to, this angle ABC, into this line, no? Itong 1, 2, 3. Okay? So the way we transfer angles is kunin natin yung compass natin. Tapos, let's bring compass down. Tapos, ang gagawin natin is place it sa center. Tapos, we do an arbitrary length, no? Pero that length should be, kumbaga, pasok siya sa length ng ABC. Kasi kung if you do larger, hindi na mag-work yung technique, no? So, you do something that is smaller. So, you can do something like this. Pwede nyo isagad. I don't suggest having a very small na angle, no? Kasi pag masyadong small naman yung opening, ang nangyayari is nagiging inaccurate din yung sagot natin. Usually the larger the opening na ginawa nyo, mas accurate actually yung results, no? Kasi yung mga minute changes, hindi siya, kumbaga it's a percentage of the actual na, kumbaga yung error na nagawa nyo is a percentage of yung opening. So kung mas malaki siya, yung konting discrepancy na yon is a small percentage to the opening na ginawa nyo. So, ako, I just like to do something reasonable, no? Mga half siguro, mga ganyan. So, if I do that, gagawin natin is, we strike an arc, no? So, dito, if I take my pen, so magsa-strike ako ng arc na ganyan. So, you can also do just this portion and this portion. That's perfectly fine. Pwede rin buuin nyo siya na ganyan siya. So, let's just do ganyan, no? Okay? So, yung same distance na yon gagamitin natin. Lagay natin siya dito. So, if we want to do 2, 1, 3 kunwari, then pwedeng pa ganyan. Or pwede rin ang gawin natin is 1, 2, 3 na pa ganyan. So, let's just do 1, 2, 3. No? So, kunwari, we want to make the angle dito. No? Gusto natin na dito binubuo yung angle. Gusto natin nandyan. So, such that mag-create tayo ng angle. Let's use another color. No? Kunwari, gusto natin mag-create ng angle 1, 2, 3. No? So, that's 1, 2, 3. Ganyan. So, if that's the case, kunin natin siya. This is the distance na, arbitrary distance na ginawa natin. No? So, we place it in the, sa point na gusto natin nandun yung vertex. Then, we strike an arc doon na pa ganyan. Okay? So, that's the arc that we want to strike. So in this case, kailangan buuin natin, no, kasi we don't know kung saan siya magfo-fall, no? So we need to kumbaga kailangan natin i-intersect siya dito sa line natin, tapos kailangan somewhere dito. So you can do something like this if you can estimate where you think the intersection will fall, or pwede rin na from here i-diretso nyo na siyang ganyan, no? So I'll just do something like that, no? Kasi parang somewhere dyan siguro yung intersection niya. Okay? So now that you have this, you take the distance, itong two markers na nagawa nyo from the first angle na gusto nyo i-copy. So you just measure the distance between those 2 points. No? So if I do this, I'll just measure the distance between them. So parang ganyan. So that's the distance between them. Tapos, kukopya ko lang siya dito. Okay? So nandyan siya. Then I strike an arc na pa ganyan. Okay, so if I do that, then I'll have something like ganyan, no? Tama? Now if I hide my compass, I have this point, no? And this point, if I connect it with this point, I can produce a line, no? So if I do, me, if I take this point, tapos gagawa ko ng line na pa ganyan, passing through that intersection point right there, and gawin nating stroke damping din. Okay. Then I'll end up with something that looks like that. No? So ito na yung angle ko. So I have successfully transferred angle ABC into the line 1, 2, producing line 1, 2, 3. No? And I can probably label this as 1, 2, 3. Okay? Nasusundan pa so far? So we've done so far, transferring angle, madali lang, bisecting angle. And by bisecting, you also produce a perpendicular line. Tapos ito, transferring of angle. Fairly simple lang din, no? Okay? So again, if you have any questions, no, just put it in the chat box or open your mics, tapos pwede kayo magtanong anytime. So I'm assuming dahil walang nagsasalita masyado, that you've all absorbed the methodology. Okay? So that's the first page, no? Okay na tayo sa first page na to. Let's proceed. Ito yung second page natin. And we do the okay. Zoom in tayo. Tapos I think RGB. Yan. Let's bring our compass again. Okay, so there's our compass. So, itong compass na to. Next, let's do bisecting an angle. No? Okay? So, bisecting an angle, medyo madali lang din siya. And I have a parang technique na ginagamit dito na para mas quote-unquote tipid sa steps, no? So, what I like to do is I'll open an arbitrary distance, usually mga midway point ng or half the distance of the edges that are present, no? So, I'll do something like siguro ganyan. Tapos, I'll strike a arc, ganyan. So, halos same lang siya sa first few steps ng bisecting, no? So, I'll strike an arc. So, let's do that. Let's strike an arc dito. Pa ganyan. Pwede rin dito at dito lang. That's perfectly fine. Then, using the same distance, and hindi siya necessarily the case na that you use the same distance, pero I just like to do, kumbaga nagtitipid ako sa steps, no? Kasi the less movement na ginawa nyo dun sa mga distances, measurements, less prone to error yung work nyo. So, if I use the same distance, I can example ganyan. Tapos mas mabilis din siya, no, kasi I can create the arcs or markings in quick succession, no. So kumbaga in real time it looks something like I'll wait, sorry. Parang in real time I struck an arc na pa ganyan, move my compass without changing the distance. Pa ganyan, then I'll strike an arc this way and also strike an arc this way. Parang ganyan. Right? So parang sobrang bilis niya, no, kasi kumbaga wala akong masyadong ginawang changes doon sa ano natin sa compass. Merong question dito from Nina. Um nag-pass na ganyan, hindi natatanggal. Hindi natin tatanggalin yung mga marks, no. Part siya ng ang tawag natin sa kanya is the geometric constructions, no. So, yung mga geometric constructions natin or construction lines, I mean, yung construction lines is part of the solutions. Kumbaga uh, if this is a physics problem, no? Parang siya yung solution, yung mga steps na kailangan natin i-solve para to arrive at the final answers. So, hindi final answer lang yung hinihingi sa mga plates, no? We always ask for the solution as well. So, yon kailangan natin i-retain yung mga markings na yun. Okay? So, gawin natin is again, we created the itong initial na arc na to using a particular arbitrary distance, and using the same arbitrary distance, we will make two arcs as well. So from this point, strike an arc this way. Okay. So we strike an arc pa ganyan. Then lipat natin yung compass natin dito. And we strike another arc. Oop. Lipat natin dito. Then something's wrong. Naghang siya. Okay, ito na. Then we strike an arc this way. Pa ganyan naman. Okay. So if we do that, we should get something that looks like this. Tapos, if we connect, again, in engineering drawing or geometry in general, if you have 2 points, this point right here and this point right here, if you connect those 2 points, you will produce a line. No? And if I connect this one and this one, pwede palang diretsuin ko na. From this point to this point, this is now the angular bisector of this particular angle. No? And I've divided the angle into two separate angles that are of equal distance. No? And you want, you can mark it. No? So if I have marking like this, pwede kong lagyan ng ganito, no? To signify that they are equal. No? Okay. Next is dividing a line into equal segments. And merong chinat si Joey. And please take note of what Joey said, no? Yung H is for your construction lines. Tapos yung HB is for your final answer. Okay? So next is let's divide a line into equal segments. No? So dividing a line into equal segments actually requires knowledge on parallel lines. No? So the way we try to do this is, gagawin natin is, we want to create ito yung goal natin, no? Create tayo ng line dito and create tayo ng line dito. Such that if we were to make equally distant na points right here and we create those same points dito, tapos i-connect natin siya. So this point and this point. this point and this point, this point and this point. Parang ganyan. So, minadali ko na lang. Pero pag ginawa natin ng ganyan, we have actually divided um, our given line into those equal segments. Okay? So first is, gawa muna tayo nitong parallel lines na to. No? So how do we do that? So if this is, I don't know, if this is our line, yan at dito, then one unique property is that kung parallel sila, truly parallel sila, no? Then therefore, dapat itong angle na to should be the same as this angle. No? Tama? So let's try to construct that. We do an arbitrary angle. No? Usually, um, yung recommended is somewhere around 30 to 45 degrees. No? So and that's just an estimate. No? So let's do something like arbitrary lang naman. No? So I'll just do something like ganyan. I think that's good enough. No? And let me, mas gagawa ko na mas manipis na line. No? Para mas, yan. So let's do arbitrary line. Nipisan ko pa konti. From this point, arbitrary. Again, this is arbitrary. No? Now I want to create a parallel line that starts from this. No? So to do that, measure natin yung angle na to. So let's take our compass again. And itong compass, mukhang kailangan kong at kanina ko pala ginawa to. Should have made this as a, anyway, okay lang yun. So if I take this one, I do an arbitrary distance or something like siguro ganyan. That seems reasonable. So gagawa ko ng arc kapag ganyan. So I'll strike this one and this one. Tapos lipat ko yan sa kabilang side. Tama? So we go to this side. Tapos strike din ako ng arc na pag ganyan naman. So I'll do something like this. Okay? So therefore I'll produce a arc that looks like ganyan. Tama? Now, once I have that, I need to measure the distance from here to here. Oh, sorry. I'll measure the distance. Ito yung kailangan ko i-measure na distance. No? So something like yan. So once I measure the distance, pwede ko nang ilipat yung distance na yon dito sa side na to. Okay? Then I'll strike another arc na pa ganyan. Okay? So if I do that, I get something like this. Then, pwedeng gawin ko na is create a line from here passing through that point. Tama? When I do that, this line, two lines are now parallel to each other because they have the same angle dito. Okay? So now that I have these two parallel lines, gagawin ko is I just make arbitrary distances no that are equal to the number of segments na gusto ko. So if I do three segments, then I can just do something like this. No? So that's one. Sige, wait lang. So I do, let's say na gusto natin i-divide to into 3 equal segments. So gawin natin is, di-divide natin siya into 3 segments itong parallel lines natin. So, kumari ganyan. So this is my first arc. And this is arbitrary lang tong length na to. Hindi siya nagma-matter. So ito, another one. Tapos actually pwede tayong tumigil na dito no kasi yung third na pero just to show ipapakita ko na lang din. Itong third marking kasi i-connect lang din natin siya dito sa dulo no. So wala naman tayong information na nakukuha diyan pero just for completeness no pakita ko lang. Pero if you'll notice later actually hanggang dito lang yung kailangan nyo. Pero let's do that on the other side as well. Same distance yung gagamitin natin. So strike an arc na pa ganyan. So that's 1. Tapos copy that distance 2. And lastly, gawa tayo ng pangatlo. Three. Ganyan. Okay? So what we'll do is, ito, yung last point na to, i-connect natin dito. So that's why I said earlier na hindi necessary tong ano no, yung dulo kasi baka wala naman siyang information na na-provide. No? Ang importante lang talaga is etong this one and this one. Kasi sila yung magba-bisect ng line natin. So ito, or sorry, not bisect, intersect sa line natin which produces the equal segments. So this segment right here, this one and this one are all equal lengths siya. No? So if this if etong distance na to is length AB, no? So we can say, pwede natin siyang i-denote like this one, this segment. This means that it is segment AB, no? So at each one of these segments right here has a distance of AB over 3. Yun yung distance niya. Okay? So let's just say na ano no, gusto natin na instead of divide it by 3, gusto natin divide siya by 5 kunwari. So if i-divide natin siya by 5, then what we'll do is we can still use the same parallel lines. Pwede natin siyang i-reuse. Tapos instead of doing 3 segments, kasi ang ginawa natin dito is 1, 2, and 3. Tama? Instead of doing 3 segments, we do 5 segments. So let's do that. And if I do 5 segments na using the same distance, ang mangyayari is lalagpas ako. So parang ayoko na mag-create ng kumbaga masyado na malayo, no? So instead of using the same distance, gawa ko ng, kasi arbitrary lang naman siya, gawa ko ng smaller distances, no? Pwede siguro ganyan, no? Para I'm estimating na kaya ng masakop niya yung or papasok yung 5 segments na yun dito. Okay? So let's use another color, no? Let's do green. Okay? So dito, if I do 1, parang hindi masyadong malinaw. Let's do red. So let's do 1, tapos 2, this is ito, third segment na to. 3, then yung fourth segment is nandito, 4. And nasa option, kayo na mag-decide, no? Kung gusto niyo pa gawin yung fifth, but the fifth again segment will be just connected to the edge, no? So just to show you na hindi siya kailangan, no? In this particular na example, itong sa divide by 5, hindi ko na ipapakita. Okay? So let's just say na 5 segments siya, so hindi ko na pinakita yung last, no? So using the same distances, copyin ko naman siya on the other side, no? Ayan. So 1 hanggang 4 yung gagawin natin. So 1, so that's 0.4, 1, 2, pat natin siya, 3, oh, ano nangyari? Ayun. And 4. Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I can do is I could just connect this one, this point, and this point. Okay. So you'll notice na na-divide ko yung ko into 5. No? So this AB over 5 to. And siguro pwede ko i-retain tong no. This is AB over 3. Okay? Tama? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? May konting inaccuracies ako dito, no? Kasi if you notice, parang nandito close yung yung second point at third point ng red and yellow, pero dito medyo malayo siya. So I probably did some inaccuracies no, kasi nagmamadali ako. Pero you should be mas accurate dapat yung gawa nyo. Sige, try ka natin i-correct. Baka ma-correct ko pa, no?
Sir, paano na-estimate yung pagkakahati ng markings po?
Walang, ano no, kasi arbitrary siya, kayo yung magde-decide kung gaano siya kalayo. Ah, if hindi naman siya pasok doon sa ano no, kung kumbaga kung yung initial na ginawa nyo na distance is kumbaga lumagpas kayo dito sa line nyo, pwede naman i-extend nyo na lang yung line nyo para swak siya. Pero ito, mostly ano lang siya no, experience lang. So kung kumbaga dito based lang sa kung gaano kalayo tong line na to, if I estimated to an arbitrary distance na sure ako papasok yung 5 segments na yon. Ito yung line na ginawa ko no. Pero I could have equally done something like this no. So kung ganito yung ginawa ko, para mangyayari is 2, 3, 4. Pasok pa naman yung fourth and yung fifth baka lumagpas siya. Parang ganyan. Pero again, this is yung advanced technique na sinasabi ko guys no na yung fifth na point, actually hindi nyo kailangan gawin siya no. Kasi yung fifth point is ang purpose lang nung fifth point is to connect to the edge and walang information kayong nakukuha doon. So pero again, if you find it confusing, no? If you find that confusing, then I suggest na stick lang kayo sa making segments equal to the number or making points equal to the number of segments that is required of you. So for example, dito, kung gusto nyo buuin to, pwede namang ito 1, 2, 3, 4, tapos pwedeng gawin nyo is dagdag kayo ng isa pa dito, 5. Pwede naman ganyan. Tapos, pero note that itong fifth will be connected dito sa dulo. No? So, again, walang information kayong, new information kumbaga na dagdag sa kanya. Okay, so dito naman, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Somewhere dito. Okay. Okay na siguro yun. So if I connect the lines, tama. Ko-complete ko pala, no? So if I do the fifth one, na nandito siya, and arbitrary lang to, no? And if I do that, you'll notice, again, walang information na nabibigay itong last point na to, no? Okay? Sorry. So let me hide. So yun. So let me just read the chat, no? May question si Shane. Yung kanina, no? Paano na-estimate? Nasagot ko ba, Shane, yung tanong mo? It's, ano, no?
Opo,
Arbitrary
sir.
lang.
Okay na po siya.
Okay. So, kayo lang bahala. Basta make sure nyo lang na pasok siya doon sa initial na parallel lines na ginawa nyo, no? Kasi if not, then you'll have to extend it. Okay? Then, po, yung final lines for letter E po, wala po. Ano yung final lines? Okay. So, dito, we consider itong mga colored lines na to, no? Ito, construction lines lang to lahat. Yung final sagot lang talaga dito if I could mark it in white, no? So, kunwari, let's just say na ang question asks for divide the lines into 5 equal segments, then itong pula yung gagamitin natin, no? So, yung final lang is actually ito, and ito. Yun lang yung final answers nyo. Ito, lahat ng mga naka-color dyan is actually just construction lines lang sila. Okay? So, ito,
Yes.
yun, divided. Alright? So, again, huwag kayong malito class, no? So, let me... Ito, lagay ko lang ng number, no? So, kunwari, kung ito 0, 1, 2, 3. Ito 0, 1, 2, 3. You connect 0 and 3 to 1 and 2, 2 and 1, tapos 3 and 0. Okay? So notice again, i-reiterate ko lang, no? Yung 3, yung third point na to, gives you no additional information. So kung gusto niyo magtipid ng lines, pwedeng wag niyo na siyang gawin. Hanggang 2 lang yung gagawin. No? Tapos similarly, itong sa kabilang side, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So ito naman 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most of the time, no, hindi nyo kailangan i-label siya. Hindi nyo kailangan lagyan ng 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pero kung if you're still starting out tapos medyo nalilito kayo, then you can do numbers, no, para mas madaling siyang i-map out. No? So 0 to 5, 4 to 1, 3 to 2, 2 to 3, 1 to 4, and 0 to 5. And again, as I mentioned, 0 to 5 in this case provides no additional information. So, kumbaga ang main information lang talaga itong mga intersections na to. Kasi sila yung ano. Okay? So, hopefully, malinaw yon. That makes sense. And yung accuracy nyo actually magde-depend sa kung gaano ka-accurate yung parallel lines na nagawa nyo. No? So, in my case, mukhang hindi accurate yung ginawa kong parallel lines. No? I think smaller yung angle na to as compared to this angle. So that's why medyo off yung parallel lines na ginawa ko. Okay? So I trust that you guys will do a better job than what I did here. Okay? So that's dividing a line into equal segments. Now let's proceed with ito, no? Parallel lines naman tayo. So we want to create a line 1 such that it is parallel to line 2 and it passes through this given point A. Okay. So the way we do that is my two methods, no? And both methods will use a parallelogram, no? Yung isa ang tawag sa kanya is as an implies parallelogram method. Yung isa gagamit siya ng a special type of parallelogram, yung equal sides, which is the rhombus. No? So yung kaya tawag sa kanya rhombus method. So pwedeng parallelogram method, pwedeng rhombus method. I suggest you do rhombus method kasi si rhombus method similar sa or as I mentioned earlier, no, gusto natin na tipid tayo sa steps. So yung rhombus method kasi it reuses only or it uses only one measurement. No? So in that sense, mas konti yung error na mangyayari. So I'll just be showing rhombus method, no, pero basically ang mangyayari is you want to create a parallelogram na parang ganyan. So kung parallelogram method, parang ganyan yung i-create nyo. So by connecting this A and this point right here, then you create the parallel line. So this is a parallelogram now. So rhombus method, instead of having a different length, different sila, what the rhombus method does is, gawin ko ng equal sila. So if I do this one, same length na yung gagamitin ko dito. Kasi it will still produce the parallel line. No? And dito sa rhombus method, mas tipid siya sa steps. No? So let's do rhombus method. So to do the rhombus method, we take our compass, put natin siya dyan. Then we strike an arbitrary length. No? So, and that length should be enough na mag-intersect siya dito sa natin, sa line natin. So we can do it in two ways, no? Kasi if you notice, etong length na to, so you can make it as large as you want or small siya. Pero kumbaga hindi pwedeng ganito, no? Kasi hindi siya mag-intersect sa line 2 natin. So you can do something, So you can do it this way. So pwedeng ganyan. Or pwedeng malit lang na sakto lang. Kunwari ganyan. Pwede din yan. Pero hindi pwedeng yung super sakto na ganyan, no? Kasi hindi natin sure kung gaano ka-tangent yung line na yan. So what we do is we need to extend it ganyan, such that 2 points yung may intersect. So you are faced with the choice dito, no? Kasi if you do this, pwede kasing ang intersection mo is somewhere here or somewhere here. Tama? So if you do this point right here, ang mangyayari is, if I remove the compass, no? If you do this point right here, then yung rhombus na makikreate mo is something like pag ganyan. And posibleng hindi siya lalagpas ako sa line. So the safer option is you do this point right here. Kasi kung ang mangyayari is yung expected solution ko is something like parang ganyan. Tama? So that is also something to think about, class, no? So when you are, kasi there are methods that look like this, no, na kumbaga you can go either way. So pwedeng this side or this side. Ang ano nyo is when you're choosing a side, no, you always think about yung parang projected nyo, or you think about kung ano yung na-envision nyo na solution sa kanya. Okay? And if you choose one option over the other, you need to make sure na kumbaga pasok yung na-envision yung solution doon sa choice na yun. Okay? So again, dito, if I do this, posibleng lalagpas ako. So I'll just choose this side right here. So dito ako mag-strike ng arc. Okay? So let me strike an arc here. I'll strike an arc there. Tapos, again, because I'm using Rhombus method, then I'll just use the same distance, no? So from here, I'll also strike an arc somewhere dito, no? So I can do something like, ganyan, no? Oh, sorry. So again, I'll strike an arc there. Now, lipat ako dito. And since, again, Rhombus method to, therefore, dapat same distance lang yung gagamitin ko. So notice, hindi ako nagbago ng distance ng compass ko, which means na relatively less prone to error tong method na to. So again, ganyan. Then I'll move the compass once more. Dito naman. Ganyan. Tapos, I'll strike another arc dito sa side na to. And again, just to reiterate, hindi ako nagbago ng distance ng compass ko. So, I should get this point right here. So now that I have that point, if I connect this line right here, and I can extend it if I want to. Pwede ring extend ko siyang ganyan. Pero in this experiment, in this particular situation, wala namang sinabi kung ano yung distance ng line, no? Just says that I should create a parallel line. So I can just do something like this, no? So this is my line 1 right here. So I've created a line that is parallel to this line using the Rhombus method, no? Okay? So if I were to finalize this, my answer here, then ang gagawin ko is, and to show na final answer siya, I'll use a white line, no? A thicker white line. So ganyan. So ito lang actually yung final answer ko. And I can also consider the labels as final answer, no? So pwedeng white din to. In your case, naka-HB siya kumbaga. So pwedeng, line 1, I'm sorry. That is the final answer. So itong mga yellow lines na to, these are my construction lines. Okay? Gianna asks, no, is it needed po ba na yung mga labels sa mga requirements? It depends, no, kung paano naka-phrase yung problems, no. Pero usually pagka merong kumbaga may designated na parang label yung particular na item na hinihingi, then you need to label those lines. So for example, ito, sinabi kasi na line 1 is parallel to a given, and usually sa plates natin or problems, usually mas kumbaga mas defined yung question, no? Something like create a line 1 that is parallel to a given line 2 passing through point A. So pag ganun, kailangan natin i-label yung line 1. So dito rin, usually hindi siya ganito, no, na parang divide the line into equal segments. Parang the instructions could be something like locate point D, C na lang. Locate point C such that point C is 2/3 or let's just say 2/5 the distance of AB. Parang ganyan. Parang ganun. So kung ganyan, then point C should be, kung 2/5, then therefore parang 1, 2. So this is point C, or pwede rin from this side, 1, 2 na pa ganyan. Pero kung mas accurate pa, so locate point C such that AC is equal to 2/5 AB. Yan yung mas ano no, realistic na lalabas sa mga problems natin such as this, parang ganun. Locate point C such that AC is equal to 2/5 AB. So pag ganyan, then ito lang yung possible only possible solution, no? Si etong point na to, point C. So if this is how it's stated, then parang ang gagawin natin is i-label natin si C kasi yun yung hinihingi ng problem. Okay, dito bisecting an angle, usually parang ang tanong dito is find point, kunwari may something like pwedeng ganyan, no? Let's just say point dito, no? Line dito, kunwari, or let's just say line 1. Pwedeng pwedeng given to, no? Tapos ang question is find point D such that BD bisects the angle ABC. So pag ganun, you need to extend this. Extend nyo to. Pag ganyan. Tapos kung saan siya nag-intersect dyan. Kunwari ang sinabi, no, hindi na lang line D. Kunwari ang sinabi dito is location of D. Tapos naka-broken line kunwari to. Kunwari lang yan yung given, no. This is the location of D. So ang tinanong is locate point D such that BD bisects the angle ABC. Pag ganyan, then you extend this. Kasi kung saan siya nag-intersect, this is now your point D. You have successfully found point D. So, it depends on the problem class, no? So, depende kung paano estimate siya. Usually, again, mas clearly defined yung problem, no? Na kung ano yung hinihingi, anong points ang kailangan nyo i-label, mga ganyan. So, anytime na may lumabas na point, ganyan, line, ganyan, you need to show that in your solution. And in this case, find point B. So, tanggalin ko na lang to. So, dito kasi sa practice worksheets natin, this is just for practice, no? So, hindi siya masyadong pinakita. Pero let me show, siguro, just to illustrate yung problem. No? Let's show something more, sorry, accurate. No? So, let me open. Baka mas malinaw dito. So, let's do this, kunwari. So, feel ko mas, this is a previous exam, no? Parang dito, ito yung mga problems, no? Kunwari, construct line CD passing through B where CD is 5/4 AB and CB is equal to 1/2 BD. So, ang binigay lang is point A and point B. So, parang ganyan, no? So, ito, pinapahanap talaga si point C and point D para makonstruct mo yung line CD. Such that etong si CD is may ganitong condition. Tapos si CB is may ganitong condition siya. Tapos yung angle ABC daw measures 82.5 and C should be somewhere above point B. Parang ganyan. So in that's the case, ang kailangan mong i-provide na answer is point C for this item number 1. No? Kailangan mo i-provide is point C, point D, and connect that point C and D. So line CD. So dito yung exact answer, pero let's just say na nahanap nyo si C somewhere dito, nahanap nyo si D somewhere dyan. Then sa final answer, it should be parang ganyan. CD. That is CD. And any construction lines para mahanap nyo dito sa yung CD should be ano no, in lighter, gagamitin nyo yung H pencil nyo. Tapos yung si HB is etong CD lang. Okay? So yung the rest, yung kunwari yung pag-divide ng dividing into 4 segments ng AB para makuha yung 5/4 or dividing ng 1/2 ng BD, yung paghanap ng perpendicular bisector. Yung mga construction lines na yon should be just should be lighter than the final answer. Ito din yung measuring 82.5 degrees, lighter din dapat siya. Okay? Kasi construction lines lang sila. Alright? So hopefully that makes sense, no? So okay ba tayo doon? Sige. So, kailangan umalis pala ni Joey and mukhang nakalis na siya. So, if you have questions, meron naman siyang ano, no, binigay na email and Facebook. So, you can message her there. No? Okay? So, pwedeng sa akin, pwedeng sa kanya. And we will, both of us will help you. No? Okay? So, balik tayo sa ano. So, we're done with parallel lines. Kaya pa? Konti na lang ata. We have one more page na lang. And then we can finish the lesson. No? Okay, so thank you for the feedback. So the rest, kung if you have time, just send a emoji no to show na nandyan pa kayo no at kaya nyo pa. Okay, may mga nag-thumbs up. Thank you for the feedback, guys. Now let's go to this is the last page, I think. No? Last page. And socket. Okay. Then let's take my compass. Lipat natin sa kabilang side. All right. So let's try to do this problem. So dito naman, line 1 that is parallel to a given line 2 and a distance L. No? So to do this, actually, kailangan natin yung concept ng parallel, perpendicular lines. Kasi when we are measuring distances, no? And this applies to siguro lahat ng dito sa ES1, no? Whenever you are asked to measure distances, it's always a perpendicular distance. So, kasi yung perpendicular distance, siya yung longest distance natin, kumbaga. Kasi if you do, for example, itong line na to, no? If you don't do a perpendicular distance, let's say itong si line 2, kuwari, nag-measure kayo ng distance na pa ganyan, at an angle siya. So, itong, if you copy length L, no? Tapos nag-measure kayo from that. So, pag ganyan, hindi siya yung longest distance, no? So, kung may point kayo dyan, this point right here is not actually L distance away. Yung distance niya is measured from the perpendicular, no? Kasi yun yung, kumbaga, proper term doon. I can't find the right word, no? Pero that's the way we measure distances. No? Dapat always perpendicular siya to the line or point na kailangan natin hanapin. No? So in this particular case, kailangan kasi natin gumawa ng parallel line. So we need to create parang ganyan. Pero at the same time, ito dapat length L daw to. So distance L siya away. So when we say it is L distance away, this means that this one right here should be a perpendicular distance. No? Parang ganyan. So let's try to construct that. So to do that, we need the concept of perpendicular lines. No? And the perpendicular lines is discussed dito. No? So, but I think we can parang preview na lang to sa next section. No? So what we do is, if you remember the bisecting an angle, no? So bisecting a line, yun nandito. When we bisected a line, where was that? Ito. Nung ginawa natin yung bisection of a line, we noted na yung bisector is also perpendicular to the line, no? So that's why we call it as a perpendicular bisector. And this perpendicular bisector can be used to create perpendicular lines. So what we do is, for this case, create muna tayo ng perpendicular line. Okay, so if you take our compass, let's take our compass, no? So ang gagawin natin is, we just make a perpendicular line, no? So the way we do that is, we can take actually the perpendicular bisector of this line 1, 2. Kasi if we take the perpendicular bisector of line 1, 2, then we are sure na makakapag-create tayo ng perpendicular line. And that perpendicular line is arbitrary, no? Kasi we can create a line dito. We can also create a line dito. Doesn't really matter kasi if it's parallel, kunwari, if we create a parallel line na ganyan, all perpendicular distances should measure length L. Tama? So, it doesn't really matter. So, pwedeng perpendicular bisector gawin natin or kung gusto nyo, I think this is easier, no? Instead of doing a perpendicular bisector of this entire length, pwedeng gawa lang ako ng arbitrary, kunwari dito. I just made an arbitrary segment dito, no? And that arbitrary segment, I'll make a perpendicular distance of that. So dito, I can do, ang rule natin is, ano no, parang slightly larger. Pero in this case, dahil small segment lang to, pwede nga actually same segment, same distance as segment. And in fact, pwede nga mas malaki, no? Pero I'll just do something like mga ganyan siguro. Okay? So if I do this, so I'll mark one at the top, one at the bottom. So if I do that, I should get something like, gawa tayo ng green naman tayo ngayon. Ay, pangit yung green. Huwag yung green. Pink tayo. So, kunwari ganyan. Pink. Tapos, sa baba din, we create another line dito, no? Ganyan. Then hopefully you still remember how to do perpendicular distances, no? Kasi kakaturo lang natin. And again, this is something you must need to know by heart, no? Such that kahit in your sleep, you can do this, no? So, we mark lines, strike an arc sa taas, strike an arc sa baba. Okay? So, pag ganon, then we do isa dito and isa dito. Okay? Ganyan. So now that we've created this, we have 2 points. Then, pwede natin siyang i-connect and if we connect them, we can produce, I don't know, a perpendicular line. And, let me... Ito, connect natin siya. Taas. Parang ganyan. Ha? So that's my perpendicular distance. Perpendicular bisector, and that's a perpendicular line. Then I can just copy si length L, no? So if I take length L, ganyan. And ito yung first na lesson na ano no ginawa natin, copying distance L. I'll just do ganyan, no? Copy the distance L, and dito let's mark it off here, no? Ito. Mark ko siya ng ganyan. So if I do that, I should get something that looks like this. And if I hide my compass, this is now distance L, no? So to create the perpendicular, the parallel line, what you can do is you can create another perpendicular line dito, no? So pwede ganyan, perpendicular line. Or you can do this method, no? Itong nandito, parallel line passing to point A. Kasi technically this is a point. Point to, tama? And we just need a parallel line to line 2 passing through this particular point right here. So I think that's easier, no? Gawa tayo you will use the Rhombos method. So what we do is, you remember the Rhombos method, ito yung point natin. We take an arbitrary distance, ganyan, such that mag-intersect siya sa line 1 and 2. So again, 2 options tayo. If we go this route, pwedeng hindi siya pasok. So I'll just go for this option right here. So yan, I'll mark this point. Tapos I'll also mark another point, or I'll strike another arc dito, no? Okay? Then, I move my compass dito sa point na to. Again, Rhombus method. Therefore, hindi gagalaw yung opening ng compass ko or distance or yung measurement na to. So, I'll strike an arc here. Then, I'll move it one last time. Lipat natin dito. And we'll strike another arc dito naman. Strike an arc pa ganyan. Okay? So, if we do that, then ito siya. Hide my compass. Therefore, ito siya. And if I connect this one with this one, this is now line 1 that is parallel to line 2 with a distance of L. So kung final answer is yung hinihingi, and I'll indicate that with a solid line, no? Solid white line. So dapat final answer, ito lang talaga ang gagawin natin, no? Let me just make this more accurate, no? Parang ganyan. So this is my final answer. Line 1. Tapos all other lines, itong pink lines na to, is just will be the construction lines. Okay? Okay pa? So hopefully nasundan nyo to, no? So again, dito sa line parallel to line 2 given a distance L, you need the concept of perpendicular lines para ma-achieve nyo to, no? Because again, measurements or distances are measured perpendicularly, no? Okay? So next, part 3 tayo, perpendicular lines. And we've already parang medyo na-discuss na natin to. So we have line 1 perpendicular to a given line 2 and passing through point 2. So for example, ito. So gusto natin, yung kanina kasi arbitrary lang ginawa natin, no? Naghanap lang tayo ng itong distance na to. Tapos gumawa tayo ng perpendicular line. Kasi hindi naman nagmamatter kung saan, no? Kasi if we did the perpendicular line, kunwari, dito natin ginawa, that will still be L distance, no? And we could have done the Rhombus Method kahit dito tayo nag-start, no? So it doesn't matter. Pero dito, kailangan daw kasi mag-pass through point A siya. Okay? So if it needs to pass through point A, so kailangan siya mag-pass through dito, then what we do is, dapat mag-create tayo ng perpendicular line passing through this one. And so we should use this as the center point, no? So ang gagawin natin is gagawa tayo ng parang pseudo endpoints dito. So we need to create something like that. And these endpoints right here should be equidistant to each other kasi gusto natin na dito mag-create ng perpendicular bisector. Tama? And so if this were to be the perpendicular bisector, dapat it should be, kumbaga yung pseudo endpoints na i-create natin should be equidistant from each other. So dapat dito and dito equal siya. So and that can be easily achieved, no? Kasi if we take our compass, if we take our compass, put it at the center itong of where we want it to create a node, then I can just strike and I'll just choose arbitrary distance. So I can make it large, I can make it small, doesn't really matter. Let's just say a reasonable size will be something like this, no? So we strike an arc dito, strike an arc dito rin sa kabila. So one here and one here. And if we do that, we should get something like this. One arc here, another arc here. So that now becomes our parang pseudo endpoints, no? And this is these distances are equal. Okay? So now that we have that, eto, pwede din tayo parang perpendicular bisector lang din, no? So if we take our compass, and the way we do perpendicular bisector is endpoints yung ginagamit natin, no? So that's why I said na create tayo ng pseudo endpoints natin. So again, we do slightly larger than the and in this case, actually alam na talaga natin kung ano yung, we don't need to estimate, no? Kasi we know the midpoint already. So ang kailangan lang natin is gumawa ng distance that can produce a reasonably sized arc, no? So if I do kunwari ganyan, ang mapoproduce ko is somewhere dito and somewhere dito. Tama? If I do ganyan, mas maliit yung distance na ginawa ko. So there is no rule dito, no, kung ano yung best way to do it. Since I already know the and for this case, since maliit yung space, it's advisable na medyo malaki yung gawin, no? Kasi sure ka naman na hindi ka lalagpas, no? So, ang reason lang naman na ginawa natin yung slightly larger lang than the midpoint is because ayaw natin na lumagpas tayo sa area, no? And in this case, since kumbaga yung area that we are working with, if you look at it, zoom out natin, no? Medyo malaki naman. Never naman tayo lalagpas, no? So, we can do a larger na arc, no? So, maybe ganyan. That is a reasonably sized arc, no? Now, usually kung nag-perpendicular bisector tayo, 'di ba, ang ginawa natin before is we do one dito sa taas and one dito sa baba, tama? Now, remember that in geometry, we only need 2 points to create a line, no? So actually, if that's the case, we already have our first point, no? Ito yung first point natin. So, we only need to do one additional point na lang para mabuo yung line. So, we can do dun sa bottom, but we can also do it at the top, no? So, pwede natin ilagay lang dito sa taas. So, we have one and no need to strike an arc dun sa baba, no? Pero if you want to be sure, pwede naman i-strike nyo din sa baba. But you'll notice na magpa-pass through pa rin siya sa point A, no? So, unnecessary siya. So, I can do one sa taas, lipat sa kabilang endpoint. We strike another line na pa ganyan. So, if we strike another line like so, we should get something like that. Okay? Now, ito, I have already this point, no? Itong point A. So I can just uh, connect this point and this point, no? And pwede ko siyang i-ganon pataas. And dito, wala namang sinabi kung gaano ka laki yung line 1, no? So we can actually stop right here, no? So pwedeng small lang siya na line as long as it is perpendicular, no? So yung final answer natin would look something like, and let me draw a thicker line para to signify na dark line siya. So we can draw something like this, no? Tapos, we can also add this, I don't know, perpendicular symbol, itong right angle na to signify na perpendicular line siya. Okay? And then, again, line 1 yung hinihingi. So, pwedeng i-label natin siya as line 1. Jill asked if you will be sharing. Yes, I'll be sharing this Zoom recording, no? Hindi siguro sa Uvle. I'll just set it up sa sa Google Chat natin para pwedeng balikan niyo yung mga recordings natin. Okay? So, yan yung perpendicular lines. And I'll also be sharing this itong mga notes natin. Yung parang kumbaga answer key. I'll be sharing this as well kasi baka gusto niyo na tingnan na lang yung itong mga annotated na worksheets na to. Right? So, you're welcome, Jill. So, dito, let's do the last one, no? Ito na last lesson for today. This is creating a line 1 that is perpendicular to a given line 2 and passing through a point. But this time, instead of a point that is inside the line, we are passing through a point outside of the line, no? So this is point A right here. Okay? So ito si point A. Tapos gusto natin na mag-pass through siya ng paganyan. Okay? So the way we do this is similar pa rin dito, no? And this is something that you need to remember, class. Now, whenever you do perpendicular lines, always meron kang parang ganitong figure na ma-produce, no? So kailangan always may parang pseudo endpoints ka, tapos mag-create ng ganyan or ganyan. Parang always parang is some variation of this, no? Yung parang ganitong shape, no? To produce the perpendicular bisector, and from the perpendicular bisector, mapoproduce natin na ganyan. Okay? So let's try to imagine, no? How do we produce that in this particular scenario, no? Well, itong point A na to, gusto natin makapag-produce ng something like parang ganyan, no? How do we produce that? It's fairly simple, no? Kasi if you do something like, if you take your compass, lipat natin siya dito sa center. Tapos you take a distance that intersects. Parang ganyan. So if I do this and I strike this distance right here and this distance right here, actually equidistant siya, no? Yung magiging points kasi we started from this center point right here. So if I strike here and here, I've created the same sort of pseudo endpoints dito, no? So I'm using the term pseudo endpoints. Hindi ko alam kung anong hindi naman yun yung actual term talaga, no? Ito lang yung naisip ko na term sa kanya, no? Pseudo endpoint. So in future lessons, I'll probably be using this term again, no? Parang pseudo endpoint. Okay? So I want to create that para magawa ko yung perpendicular bisector. Okay? So to do that, I'll just do this one and this one. So if I'll strike an arc, ganyan, this one and this one right here. Then I know that this distance right here and this distance right here is the same, no? And I just need to find yung dito. Such that para pag kinonect ko siya, pwede siyang perpendicular distance, no? Okay? So, now that I have my pseudo endpoints, no? I can take an arbitrary length, no? And probably if kumbaga, if you do some manipulations, baka may maisip kayong other methods to do this, no? Pero yung easiest way na nakita ko is just to do, kumari, ganyan. And we estimate eto hindi natin alam kung nasaan yung endpoint, no? So we can or saan yung midpoint along this parang pseudo endpoints na create natin. It should be somewhere ganyan siguro, no? This is the estimated midpoint. I'll just do siguro ganyan. That should be enough. And notice na isa lang actually yung kasi yung usual way if I were to do this, no, dapat ganyan yung gawin ko. Tama? And if I connect the 2 points, it should be the perpendicular distance that passes through point A. Pero again, since given na tong point na to, then I actually only just need one more point. So pwedeng gawin ko is dito sa taas or dito sa baba. And since dito sa example na to, ginawa natin nasa taas, no? Let's try naman sa baba naman yung i-try natin dito. No? So if we do the bottom part, then we can just strike an arc here. No need to strike an arc here, no? Pero again, if you want to be sure, you can also strike an arc dito sa taas. No? So let's strike an arc sa baba. Lipat natin yung natin compass. Same distance. Let's strike another arc na paganyan naman. Okay? If we do that, then we strike an arc this way. And again, wala akong ginawa dito, no? Kasi I already have another point here. So 2 points make a line. Therefore, if I connect this point and this point, that is my perpendicular line passing through external point A. And if I want to do the final answer, then I'll just, ito yung gagawin ko, no? So from here, connect it to this one. And ito lang yung tinatanong sa akin, no? Okay. And also, pwede rin lagyan ko ng box to indicate na right angle siya. And line 1 pa rin. So I'll just label this as line 1. And that now becomes my final answer, no? So this line 1 is perpendicular to line 2 and passes through point A. That is outside of line 2. Okay? So I think that ends our lesson, no? That is for the last portion of the first geometric construction module, no? So meron ba kayong tanong? Are we okay? Are we good with the lesson na susundan naman? Ano sila? Thank you for the feedback, everyone. So with that, I hope you can answer plate 2 sa mga natutunan nyo ngayon. I hope magagamit yung lesson today para masagot nyo yung plate 2. And also, please don't forget na kailangan nyo sagutan din yung quiz. So yung plate and yung quiz, sabay yung deadline niya. So ang deadline niya is on Monday. So yung first deadline natin is February 21. So both ang kailangan is yung plate at yung quiz. In this particular case, pati plate 1. No? And si plate 1 is yung lettering natin. If we go back, let me, tayo. If you look at the first plate, si first plate naman, wala naman siyang kasamang quiz, no? So, both, itong plate na to will be 100% of the grade, no? So, wala na yung capping na sinabi ko kanina. Okay, so 100% will come from this plate. Engineering lettering alone, plate 1. Tapos yung sa plate 2 will be, kailangan nyo sagutan, i-submit yung plate 2, tsaka yung kailangan nyo sagutan yung quiz number 2 rin. Okay? So, technically, this is the first quiz, no? Pero para hindi lang malito yung estudyante, ang ginawa namin is same number yung plate at yung quiz. So, if it says plate 2, then ang quiz na attached to it is the same number, no? Quiz 2 pa rin. So, notice na dito rin, plate 3, quiz 3 pa rin siya. Okay? So, may tanong si Aldrin James. Yes and no, no? Pero para mas maiwasan natin yung incomplete, then you need to submit it on time, no? Yung it's a hard deadline and depending on the reason kung bakit kayo hindi nakapagpasa, pwedeng di ko alam kung kita nyo to, pero I think kita ata. Sa plate, ayan, makita naman pala. So hopefully if you open the plate 2 submission nyo, you'll see a rubric, no? So doon sa baba, meron tayong part na nakalagay late submission penalty, no? So if you submit it late, then if without valid reason siya, may hard tayo na ano no, na deduction, and this is a flat deduction of 30 points regardless of gaano ka late nyo siya isa-submit, no. By the way, uh, you should be able to read this on your own, no, dun sa course guide, pero maybe I can reiterate it, no. Yung each MRs pala, meron silang required na plates, no. So for example, etong MR1 and 2, MR1 requires that you finish plates 1 to 5. Tapos MR2 requires that you finish plates 6 to 10. So kung meron kayong kulang sa plates na yon, sa kung kunwari hindi nyo nagawa si plate 4, actually hindi kayo makakapag-take ng MR1 not unless you finish plate 4. So kailangan ano ha, be mindful of that. If you want to take the MRs, it is required na dapat matapos nyo yung lahat ng plates. Kahit masubmit nyo siya late, kailangan masubmit nyo siya regardless. Okay? So, walang printer. Okay, that's a very good reason, no? Si Aldrin kasi may ilan nga na wala namang printer, so parang kailangan nila bulk. By the way, if you imagine na kumbaga throughout the SEM mahirapan kayo makapag-print, pwede kayong magsabi sa akin para we actually have a ano no, an effort to kumbaga magbigay ng hard copies of the plates to those students na mahihirapan, kunwari wala kayong internet, hirap sa internet or hirap sa ano sa printing. Pwede kayong mag-reach out sa akin, just reach out, tapos ililista ko kayo doon sa names na pwedeng sendan namin ng actual kumbaga physical copies of the plates, no, para hindi niyo na kailangan i-print, pwedeng i-deliver na namin to your doorsteps, no. Tapos hindi ko pa alam kung how it works kung sa probinsya. Ang alam ko i-courier na lang, no. So i-shoulder naman siya ng department fee, so you don't have to pay any additional na ano no na fees. So if you are one of those students, sabihan niyo ako para pwede kong isama yung names niyo sa listahan. Alright? So Kid asks kung ano yung content ng quiz 2. So, yung content ng quiz 2 is all about the ano no. So, some of the questions pwedeng related sa plates. Pwede ring some of the questions is parang conceptual, no, or hindi necessarily part of the plate pero part of the topic na kung saan. Kumbaga, pwedeng 'di ba, ang plate 2 is all about lines and angles. Pwedeng yung quiz 2 is something has questions that are related to lines and angles, no, pero hindi necessarily na um kumbaga nakakabit sa any window doon sa plate. So if you look at the plate, no, like so for example look at the plate, sorry, ito pala plate 2. This is plate 2. So there are only 2 windows sa plate 2, no. Posible na um yung questions, and it depends on the quiz, no. This varies from quiz to quiz. Some quiz meron silang portion ng questions doon na related sa plate. So for example, in window 2 of plate of the geometry construction plate, ganito yung measurement. How do you ganyan. Pwedeng may ganong questions, no. Pero there are also some questions that are not related to the plate at all. Okay? So if you find any parang confusing na questions dun sa plate, let me know para ma-double check ko, tapos I can give you parang insights or there could be some corrections dun sa quiz natin. Alright? So there are other questions pa dito. If ever method other than the discussed one gagamitin, would it be alright as long as satisfied siya ng conditions? Pwedeng yung methods na hindi ko diniscuss today, no, pero discussed siya dito sa sa dito sa module natin. So maybe there are methods na diniscuss dito sa kunwari itong video na to from this is made by sino bang gumawa ito? I think Sir Terence
Good
gumawa.
day, everyone.
Ay, si Ma'am Jen pala gumawa nito. Pero if you look at the kung may methods na diniscuss dito, pwede naman. Ang ano lang kasi is baka kumbaga if you use methods na hindi talaga diniscuss at all, the tendency is pwede si checker hindi siya familiar sa method and posibleng i-mark wrong niya, no? Kasi parang akala niya nag-random ka lang construction line. So kailangan kailangan gamitin natin yung method na tinuro sa modules, no? So pwedeng hindi ko tinuro specifically kasi again merong mga certain methods na hindi ko na tinuro, no, kasi tinuro ko lang yung what works best for me, pero tinuro naman dito sa modules natin. Kunwari ito, there are some modules na ituturo dito sa mga may short demonstration videos din tayo. Meron din dito sa main natin, resource natin. Kahit dito sa Geom Con, no, merong mga methods dyan. Geom Con 2, I mean. So, pwede, pero again, refrain tayo from using techniques na hindi tinuro dito sa course, no, kasi may tendency na baka si checker, he or she could mark it wrong, no? Alright? Tapos another question is yung course pack sa LBC pinadala. Tapos most likely baka LBC nga siya ipapadala din, no? So yun. Again, let me know if you're one of those students para masama ko kayo sa listahan, no? And mapapadalan kayo ng physical copies ng plates. Tapos kung valid naman yung reason nyo, ang mangyayari dyan is if you look at the plate summation, no, pwedeng late kayo pero without penalty. So, pwedeng late without penalty. So, 0 yung points na ima-minus sa inyo. Okay? So, itong late with penalty, usually for students lang to na kasi wala talagang valid reason na kumbaga nakalimutan lang na deadline na pala. Okay. So, if you have a valid reason, just tell me or ko mas okay kung si kasi yung gumagawa nitong assessment of your or yung parang sorting of the yung sa rubric na to is actually si Joey, no, yung essay natin. So if you have kung alam niyo malilate kayo tapos meron kayong valid reason, si Joey na lang sabihan niyo kasi siya yung magde-decide kung late with penalty or late without penalty kayo. All right? So, nasagot ko ba yung mga questions? Meron pa ba tayong other questions? Please just, open your mics or chat lang kayo if you have other questions. Mukhang meron pa ba? If there are no more questions, no, pwede tayong mag-end early. So, we're supposed to end 5:30, no? Pero I think we can end early. Okay lang ba? Okay lang. So, yun. Thank you everyone for coming into class today. And I appreciate na medyo active kayo. So, hopefully we keep this same energy, no, na dapat throughout the sem nagtatanong kayo kung may malabong point para mas matulungan kayo, no. Kasi itong ES1 it really requires practice and constant communication with instructor para tayo. Masanay tayo sa mga different na mga constructions dito, no, or problem solving. All right? So hopefully nag-enjoy kayo sa sa let's call it a stream, no. Nag-enjoy kayo sa stream natin. And probably add more mga pakulo para lang matuwa kayo konti. I'm thinking about the chat, no. Parang gusto ko talaga na may parang chat para sige, subscribe kayo sa YouTube channel ko. Kasi isa-send ko to sa YouTube ko. So yan. Thank you everyone. And I'll see you next week. Every week tayo nag-synchronous session, no? There are some weeks na, for example, wala namang deadline. Baka hindi ko kayo i-meet. Pero as long as there is a deadline, most likely mag-meet tayo, no? And I'll just show you yung yung mga, ayun, dapat mag-set up ako ng donate, no? Para, joke lang. Bawal ata yun. Pero anyway, thank you everyone for coming in today. And I'll see you next week. Yes, every Friday tayo yung synchronous session natin. Okay? And if hindi naman kayo makakasama sa synchronous session, then we'll just do I'll be recording and i-upload ko naman yung recording for you to look back. So yun lang. Thank you everyone for coming in and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Po.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Ingat.
sir.